In a world where Germany has won the First Weltkrieg, Kerensky's provisional government has managed to survive. But Russia is still weakened in every way. The Germans have taken over former Russian territories in the west. Across the Great Steppes, independent groups have begun asserting themselves. And in the east, Japan has begun its colonization of Siberia. There is much work to be done. A mere 5 days after starting, Kerensky has been assassinated. This has thrown the government into chaos, and snap elections have been held. Our main goal is to get the VNS into power. They will ensure that Russia will have strength and stability. As Black Monday and political chaos hits Russia, the Kalmyks have seceded from the Great Dawn host. We can take advantage of this to retake the city of Astrakhan. After winning the Battle of Astrakhan, the Kalmyks have totally surrendered. This will allow us to bring them back into our fold. The VNS and their leader, Dmitry Romanov, have seized control of the Russian Duma. We have won the snap elections. After receiving concerning reports of maltreatment of Russians in the Alash Orda, we have concluded that the Kazakhs have overstepped their line and we must act against them. After a quick war, the Alash Orda has capitulated to us, bringing them as well back under our control. After our show of force against the Kalmyks and the Kazakhs, the rest of the Cossack states and the rest of Turkestan have submitted to us. We can now bring the Caucasus back under our control with one fell swoop, as the Mountain Republic and Dagestan are currently distracted in war. As the Finns have broken away from the Reichspakt, we can move to invade them. We can also call in our new allies, the Norwegians. The Finns have offered us Karelia in return for peace, but we will not accept their offer. We demand their total capitulation. We have won the Winter War. After peace talks regarding the fate of Batumi have failed, we must end the centuries-long rivalry by force. After we destroyed most of the Ottoman forces in the region, the Arabs have rose up against their Ottoman overlords. The Ottomans, however, have called in the Afghans in the war against us. During all of this, the People's Republic of Yakutia has declared its independence and begun invading our land. Due to the terrain, however, it's unlikely that they'll be able to achieve anything. Due to the Spanish Civil War, we were not able to get our North Sea fleet through the Straits of Gibraltar to reinforce a naval invasion of Western Thrace. So therefore, we have to attack on land through either the Dardanelles or the Bosphorus Strait. Those positions, however, are heavily entrenched and defended by Ottoman as well as Austrian and German volunteers. This will make it almost impossible to attack through directly, so we'll fall back further into Asia Minor, allowing them to take some land before going around them and into Western Thrace. Now that the Ottomans have been sufficiently weakened, we can begin moving against the Yakutians. We can go through the Khodon state. Our first attempt to break through the Dardanelles has failed. due to reinforcements arriving too quickly. We can try again, this time allowing them even more space in Asia Minor. Due to pretty much the same reasons, our offensive against the Khodans has also failed. We'll use the same strategy we're using against the Ottomans against them. After a long and bloody war, the Afghans have finally capitulated. We will release them as a friendly puppet state. This will free up soldiers for the other fronts of the war as well. Through sheer numbers, our fallback strategy has worked, and we have gained a foothold in western Thrace. Though it took far longer than expected, our offensives have succeeded, and the Ottomans have totally capitulated. We will seize Tsargrad and Batumi, and release the rest as a friendly puppet state. Just like in Western Thrace, our fallback strategy has succeeded. We have also encircled a large portion of the Khodan army. This will no doubt prove to end the war. Though they were far stronger than they appeared, the Khodans have capitulated. This will allow us to move north against the Yakutians. Our main goal is the total annexation of both. During the war against the Ottomans, the Ruthenians tried to demand our land. To end the threat of them once and for all, we will make our move against them. After we threatened to break off all ties and invade them, the Iranians have given us the north of their country, as well as their alliance. Due to disputes over Tanu Tuva, the Mad Baron of Mongolia, Roman von Ungern-Sternberg, has drawn his Buddhist coalition against us. We must march against Mongolia, Xinjiang, and Tibet. Due to the frequency of impassable terrain, particularly in Xinjiang, we will simply draw defensive orders across all of the territories that we have to conquer, rather than using traditional front lines. This should prove better in the more mountainous and desert terrain. This whole time, the VNS has been acting slowly, passing pieces of conservative legislation one by one. Their final piece of legislation, the restoration of the monarchy, has passed. Nikolai II has returned. Bože Caria chrání. Because they were fighting on several fronts against the Chinese, the Buddhist coalition collapsed very quickly. We will puppet all of the states and release them as loyal allies. In Xinjiang, we will restore the warlords in former Turkestan back in control there. During the war against the Ottomans, the Third Internationale and the Entente declared war against the Reichspakt. This means that this is our prime time to retake our western territories. We will march against Germany and then Austria. Due to the fact that most of their soldiers are stuck up in Flanders, the front against the Germans should actually be the easiest. We will move through the Baltics swiftly before moving into Prussia and Poland, and then on to Berlin. Ukraine and the Austrians, on the other hand, still have most of their troops near us. For Ukraine, a detachment of our army will quickly decapitate the enemy. Then we will march into the Donbass and encircle most of their troops at the mouth of the Dnieper. We will move against the remnants in Galicia and then in the south, our main goal is to knock out Bulgaria and hold the line until in the north we've defeated Germany. Then we'll advance together towards Austria. taking advantage of us while we were at war, our former allies in Xinjiang have betrayed us and declared war on us, joining the Germans. We don't have the forces to subdue them, but they aren't numerous enough to stop us, so we'll have to abandon that front until we defeat the Germans and Austrians. Then we'll swing our forces back around and defeat Xinjiang. We have finally defeated the Germans and the Austrians. We'll only take our territories in the west, as well as all of Poland, and we'll split up Germany, as well as Austria. We'll puppet everything else, and keep them as loyal allies. Now that Europe has been reorganized, we can turn our sights to other issues. During the war, Syria declared war on our ally Iran, and Egypt as well as Sudan ended up joining them. We'll have to push all of them back. On top of that, we can begin considering our reconquest of the Far East from Japan. Now that we've defeated Xinjiang a second time, we have to make sure this time that we put the right people in charge. We'll release them again as a loyal puppet, but this time more under our control. As our operations in the Middle East have ended, we will give everything in Africa to our Egyptian puppet, and we will give Syria to our Turkish puppet. Iran can keep Hijaz. After we've defeated the Provisional Government of Siberia and finally defeated Yakutia, we can now turn our sights fully to the last remnant of Japanese control of the Far East. After many years of preparation and many years of waiting, our great march to the east has commenced. Our main goal is to capture the supply hubs in Manchuria and rush south to Vladivostok to hopefully cut off the entire Japanese army. This is also helped by the fact that Japan has begun its invasion of China, and we'll have them on our side as well. A smaller contingent of our army will focus on capturing Kamchatka as well as aiding the Qing Imperial Authority in capturing Beijing. It seems that the Japanese army has been much better prepared than we initially thought. Our offensive towards Vladivostok has completely failed. We've had some limited successes in the north, but that was not the main goal of the offensive. We'll shift our objective towards aiding the Qing Imperial Authority, as their supply lines are much closer to the front. By this point, the war has turned desperate. We've exhausted our manpower pool almost completely, and without reinforcements, our divisions are beginning to die. We decided to call in help from all allies. Norwegian infantry would march alongside Afghan cavalry and Austrian mountaineers. Perhaps the real Russian Empire was the friends we made along the way. The plans had worked. Our loyal allies saved us from the brink of defeat, allowing us to have the strength to take on the rest of Japan. The Japanese have offered us a way out of the war now. Taking the truce, however, would mean abandoning some provinces in the Far East, as well as abandoning our Chinese allies who fought so hard to get to this point. These terms are unacceptable, and we will continue the war. Now that we've obliterated their forces in Korea, the Japanese have offered us a second truce, this time to the rest of the Chinese United Front as well. They promise to leave mainland Asia in return for an end to the war. No matter how hard we've tried so far, our Navy still can't compete with the Japanese Navy in the Sea of Japan, so we'll never be able to naval invade Japan. Unfortunately, it seems like this is going to have to be the deal that we take. Some last remnants of the Japanese army have still refused to surrender. We will have to put them down. After years of fighting, we finally won. We have saved Russia from the grips of the liberals, the constitutional Democrats, and of course, the Germans and the Japanese. The VNS has restored the Russian Empire, and the Eurasian bloc stands as one of the strongest military alliances in the world. God save Russia, God save the Tsar.